Coming up, we're going to break down the game against St. Louis, and then we have Alex Killorn joining the show, and much more on this episode of Locked On Anaheim Ducks.
You're Locked On Ducks, your daily podcast on the Anaheim Ducks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome back, everydayers. Thanks for making Locked On Anaheim Ducks your first listen every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. My name is Kyle Carr. I'm a lifelong Anaheim Ducks fan, and I have spent multiple years covering collegiate sports, including college hockey. And today we're talking Ducks hockey. So first, we got to break down Sunday and the game against St. Louis. And then there's some transactions or movement that's occurred in the minors of the Anaheim Ducks program. And then we have Alex Killorn joining us to talk about a foundation that's near and dear to his heart. So look forward to that later in the show. But first, Sunday. Oh, guys, I tried to be positive. I wanted to come into the show and have some nice, bubbly, bright things to talk about today. But Sunday, that was not the case. I had all the hope. I was like, the Ducks, they got this. They're going to go into St. Louis. They're going to enter this road trip. They're going to end this streak of losing to St. Louis. But instead, they extended it 10 games against the Blues that the Ducks have lost in a row. They have not beat the Blues since 2021. Let that sink in for a minute. The game, like I said, I try to go into it with a positive mindset, but right off the hop, 90 seconds of game time result in 2 goals for St. Louis. The Ducks allow the forwards to get below the defense. The first goal goes off of Brayden Schenn. It even looks like Gudis kind of lifts his stick as he tried to block the pass, and he got caught going for a kneel, tries to recover, and in a weird way lifts Schenn's stick, and it almost makes the puck lift up high right over Dostal. That's the first goal of the game. Then there's a nice redirect later in the period, not even a few seconds later, and that ends up being a 2-0 start. Ducks try to come back, but it was just one of those games. It literally looked like a carbon copy of the game that they played in Anaheim against St. Louis just a few days ago. Ducks could not get any offense established. It took them 5 minutes to get the first shot on goal. It was all St. Louis, all at the time, the whole game. There was a good power play. Ducks finally got on the power play after Trouba goes and just obliterates Kyrou. Completely good check. Well, we thought it was good at the beginning, but after a little bit review, it looked like there may or may not be some disciplinary action assessed after the game, but it was announced that there was nothing that was going to come down, so Trouba will be in the lineup against Dallas, which is good for the team. However, because of that hit, Brayden Schenn challenges Trouba to a fight, and as they are scrumming it up, Schenn literally pulls Trouba's helmet off. You can look him reach around the back, pull the thing off. That is not allowed. So Schenn gets the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, and the Ducks go on the power play. Things are looking good. They're moving the puck. They're getting shots through. It looks like the Ducks have it figured out. It's only 2 goals up. They're doing all right, but nothing comes of the power play. A few minutes later, Ducks get a second power play. And this one was completely flat. It was everything that I've been talking about the last few weeks. The entries were not working. They could not get an offensive zone set up once they had the power play. Maybe about 10 seconds of the power play were actually in the offensive zone. Seems like most of the time they're just trying to enter. The only time they do this back pass thing, and I've explained it in previous episodes, but it takes them like 2.5 seconds, if that, to move the puck back to the drop pass. And by that time, the penalty killers on the other team have the neutral zone completely clogged. So they either get the puck turned over or they dump it, and then the defense gets back to the puck first and clears it. The trend of the game last night and the last time that they played the Blues, they are not getting to the 50-50 pucks. The Ducks just are a step behind. It's like the aggression is just not there to get to those loose pucks first. And St. Louis just made them look like, I don't know, a minor AHL team or something. Or the Ducks, they made St. Louis look like a cup contending team, which if you look at the standings, they're just right there above us, or they were just right above the Ducks. And now that gap just jumped even more. If the Ducks could have got the 2 points last night, they could have closed the gap and gotten right behind St. Louis. But now they have a huge hill to climb the rest of the season. Just some numbers to kind of paint the picture of what went down in there. There was, at one point, the Ducks actually did have more shots than St. Louis. It was 24-16 shots for the Ducks. However, by the end of the game, it was 26 shots for St. Louis to the Ducks 25. So you can do the math there. Ducks get one shot for almost 10 shots of St. Louis in the third. They just started hemming it in. Final score of this one was 7-2. The last time the Ducks played St. Louis, the final score was 4-2. And the first meeting of the two teams, the result was 6-2. So they cannot break the 2-goal mark this season against St. Louis. Very unfortunate. They go 0-4 on the power play. One of those power plays, it was a 3-goal game. Finally, before the power play that they got for the third time, Gauthier, finally, Cutter Gauthier comes in, gets a goal. This thing was a beauty. He's literally falling to the ice mid-air and just completely contorts his body to get the goal into the back of the net, gets past Binnington. Beautiful goal for Anaheim. But then, reverse, all of a sudden, Ducks go up on their third power play, and it ends up being a shorthanded goal. But before that, the Blues had scored. So what we thought was a 3-1 gap for the Ducks they could easily stay in there. That's only 2 goals. Turns into a 4-1 gap and then a 5-1 gap on a shorthanded goal by Joseph. So the second period just kind of squashed the team momentum. Right when they thought they were getting back into it, Blues just completely turned that around. The 5th goal came on the 14th shot of the game. So, unfortunately, Dostal gets pulled in between the second and the third, and Billy Husso has to come in for the third, and he gives up 2 goals in the third there. But like I said, the Ducks had the shot count at one point, but then St. Louis just kept bringing it and bringing it and bringing it. St. Louis did have 5 penalties last night. That means the Ducks St. Louis had 5 power plays. So the Ducks gave up 5 penalties, one of which was McTavish towards the end there. He gets a very, very bad interference, completely out of the way, bad discipline. The Ducks, you could tell, were getting very frustrated. Leads to a goal. Then another power play leads to a goal. St. Louis was 3 for 5 on the power play, and they had a shorthanded goal. So the special teams were definitely in their favor, not in Anaheim's. Hit on the hit column, St. Louis came up with 25 hits compared to Anaheim's 18 hits. So literally the entire game was just St. Louis's. There was multiple times where it seemed like the blue liners for the Ducks were just flat-footed, completely out of position, or on the power play, they were just stuck in their spot. So when the puck finally came their direction, they had to kind of take that second to get moving, and the puck goes out. Just a completely breakdown of a game for Anaheim. So moving forward, we hope, and I hope, And we all hope that they can have a great outcome against Dallas. Dallas is one of the top contending teams, but we've seen Anaheim play very, very well against those top contending teams. And let's hope that this wake-up call against St. Louis gets them going. The Ducks got into Dallas today. They had practice, so they're going to be in. They're settled. There's no late night coming in at 3:30 like Utah. They're in there. They're locked in. They're probably getting some good dinner right now, eating some steak. I know, Dallas, they got them good steaks. Get some tomahawks, boys. Rest up. You got a big one tomorrow. Coming up after the break, we're going to have a little discussion about some movement that happened down in the minor leagues for San Diego and some of the other teams. So we'll get into that right after the break. All right, eating healthy, it doesn't have to be complicated. With Factor, you get chef-made, dietitian-approved meals that are ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, so you can fuel your body without the hassle of cooking. Factor meals arrive fresh, never frozen, and with 40 options across 8 dietary preferences each week, you can customize your menu to fit your goals, whether that's calorie smart, protein plus, or keto. Look, I am terrible when it comes to meal prepping. So when it comes to Factor, I get some convenient nutrition that I know is going to give me what I need. I don't have to think about it. There's different variety. There's Korean beef bowl and creamy Parmesan chicken. There's just anything and everything that you can think of. It tastes homemade, like you just ordered it from your favorite restaurant. Whatever it is that you want to eat, Factor's got you. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/factorpodcast and use code FACTORPODCAST to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code FACTORPODCAST at factormeals.com/factorpodcast to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Are you looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. When I need a quick snack between interviews, I turn to Wonderful Pistachios because Wonderful Pistachios is a complete protein, providing all 9 essential amino acids. Boy, do these little green wonders pack a protein punch. No shells, Wonderful Pistachios are great for grab on the go ease. The satisfying crack of the ones with shells, oh my gosh, it's like snack meditation. Either one you choose will leave you satisfied. Get snackin' and get crackin' with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Interesting news came out of San Diego and the development tunnel that for the Ducks this weekend as Anaheim calls up Stian Solberg from Farjestad of the Swedish Hockey League. Interesting thing about this, he gets placed on the goals. He's been playing very well out in Sweden. San Diego right now, they are chasing the playoffs. They're in the race. They are, the way they've been playing lately, it looks like they will be in the AHL playoffs. They're cruising. They're crushing the competition right now. But the interesting thing about the calling up Solberg is that Farjestad is in the midst of playoffs right now. Seemed like the club was a little upset that the call happened, but that the Ducks own the rights for Solberg, so there's not much that they can do other than wish him luck, which they did. But Like I said, very, very interesting, as he was a key piece of the defense for the team out there. And now he's going to be part of the San Diego Gulls roster. Little bit about Solberg. If you haven't been paying attention or you don't know much about the prospects, that's okay. I got you. So Solberg, he was drafted 23rd overall, so first rounder in 2024. He's a native of Oslo, Norway, and he's played in the World Championships. He played in the 2024 World Championships and the 2024 World Junior Championship, which is kind of what got a lot of the scouts' interest, was the way he performed during the World Juniors. So again, he is from Norway. So Norway this year for the 2025 World Juniors, unfortunately, was not part of the tournament. So he did not get to play in the 2025 World Juniors, but he had a very, very, very successful career season with Farjestad and on the top Norwegian league that he was playing on before that. Right now, he is second in points and assists for defensemen under 20 in the Swedish Hockey League and fourth in goals for defensemen under 20. So he's, out of all the young kids, he's been playing very well against grown men. Swedish Hockey League is one of those leagues that it's like the KHL. They're not playing against kids. These are legitimate men, grown guys playing the sport out there. And not only is he doing well in the points segment, this kid is a wrecking ball out on the ice. He's a very physical player. He's known for his big hits. I highly, highly recommend looking up Solberg's highlight reel when it comes to hits. This kid is blowing people up. Literally all the prospect scouts that I read, the reports that I read, said, if you are on the ice and this kid is out there against you, keep your head up because he will put you through the boards. He will blow you up. So good to have this type of player coming out and getting some time in San Diego. He's a left shot defenseman. He's 6'2" and 205 pounds. So a lot of weight, bigger guy, just throwing it around, using it very well. He's got good gap control. He's similar to Gudis in the way that he plays with the physical play style and his hits. But what I've read is that he is very fast. He's got a lot of good speed when it comes to north and south type of buildup. So he's more likely one of the players that will have a knack to carry the puck out of the defensive zone after gaining possession. And he's very, very strong on the back check. So a very, very good asset coming to the goals, which begs me, I'm kind of intrigued. Is he going to be getting some play time and then other goal players are going to come up like Tristan Leno, who's been playing really well for the goals? Or is this just building up some depth for San Diego in preparation for them to have a playoff run and a very long playoff run, as we all hope, as not only the Ducks organization is hoping, but the fans, because the more the success that the Gulls have, that confidence carries on to the Ducks squad when they finally come up. So the more success, the better for the prospects and the minor league teams. We are rooting for them. This guy, he's a defensive defenseman, like I said, and he lets his speed and size determine his play style. So a lot of carrying the puck. He can defend well, kind of like Jackson Lacombe. He's very strong on the puck. Some things that I saw that he does need to work on that people have pointed out when it comes to the scouts is his transitional like lateral movement. So backwards crossovers to the sides and that kind of back skating. He can tend to trip up on himself, but that's kind of usual for these younger players as they still are growing into their bodies. They're still getting used to that higher paced play, but he has shown a lot of improvement over the years. So really looking forward to it and looking forward to seeing what the Gulls have in store for the rest of the season. I'll keep you posted on how things are going on down there and whether or not this leads to Gulls players coming up as the season progresses for the Ducks, and depending on how the Ducks do with the games coming up, as they only have 15 games left. That's right, 15 games left on the schedule for Anaheim. Depending on how those go, may result in how many of the younger players come up. But with the playoffs for the goals most likely locked in, that could completely determine on whether or not players come in. And then some other things that we'll be keeping track of. College hockey is starting to wind up. So some of these players that are either on their final year of college hockey or are most likely going to come to the club next year and sign a contract may be moving up to the squad as well. So lots of things to track and keep aware of. So you will get all that info here on Locked On Ducks. Don't worry, I got your back. And speaking of getting your back, I've got Alex Killorn's back, and he's got my back. He joined us, and he's coming up after the break. We're going to talk about some benefits and a program that he is very, very, very passionate about. And there are ways that you can benefit his program and the Duck squad as a whole. So that and more coming up after the break. Do you ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? I definitely do. Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place so you can stop just managing your money and start building wealth. This Monarch Money has completely helped me get a hold of my spending and get an idea of where my money is going, with between the hockey jerseys that I buy and all the merchandise that I can get, and going to Ducks games and getting tickets and all the stuff that I've been spending money on. Monarch Money shows it to me, and I can see it all right there, nice and easy, laid out. And I'm like, oh, that's where my money went. And I can also figure out how to make a lot more out of my savings and build up some wealth. I highly, highly recommend checking out Monarch Money. It is so convenient. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
We have a very special guest joining us today, all the way out from Dallas. Alex Killorn is joining us to talk a little about a foundation that he's been working with. So without further ado, here's Alex Killorn. Hey, Alex, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, good. Before we get into what you're out here talking about, I just kind of wanted to connect with you and talk about the team and kind of where things are with the Ducks right now.
Yeah.
So it's been a couple of seasons now that you've been with the team, and looking at where you guys are now compared to last season, what would you say has been the biggest difference within the locker room?
Well, I think we still have a very young team that we did last year, but I think having an extra year for these guys to play and get games under their belt has been huge. And I think we've seen that not just in our structure, our defensive play, our accountability, all those things have greatly improved. I think it's just guys getting more development and getting more games under their belt. And obviously we've had great goaltending.
Yeah, definitely the tandem that Anaheim has is we're very blessed with that as a fan base. Moving into with the next 15 games that you have left of the season, what's been the message coming from Coach Cronin?
So, I mean, the message is, we're right outside the playoffs, and we could, we're not too many points back, and we could see ourselves, if we have a really great run here, we can find our way to sneak into the playoffs. I think the teams that are in front of us, luckily we get to play them, which are huge 4-point games. So it's nice to be playing in meaningful games at this part of the season. And it's nice to see that there's a playoff spot that can be had.
Absolutely. And coming from your time in Tampa and in that winning culture, what are some things that you're telling these younger guys to kind of motivate them through this last stretch?
Yeah, I think just with anything in season, we really have to be focused on the process, not just the outcome. And it's very difficult to do that because we are an outcome-oriented league in terms of winning and losing. But if you bring the right process every day, I think over time you'll get the results that you want. So that's kind of something I've tried to preach.
Absolutely. And looking at, coming from that coast of sunshine to this coast of sunshine, I myself didn't grow up in Orange County. I came from Lake Tahoe, and one thing that surprised me about the area is just how big hockey actually is out here in Orange County. What's been one of the biggest surprises you've noticed kind of getting oriented out here in Anaheim?
Yeah, I think what you said is dead on. There's a huge hockey fan base. Being in Tampa for so many years, we only came out here once a year, and it was a pretty quick turnaround. We usually had to play the Kings on a back-to-back or San Jose, so we didn't spend a ton of time here. But it's obviously, a beautiful place. It's probably the most beautiful place to play in the league. Maybe, I'm being subjective there, but I think a lot of people that don't play here would agree with that as well. But like I said, the hockey culture is unbelievable. The fact that they've won here in the past is great. And you look at everything that Henry Samueli is doing around the arena is going to build an even greater fan base and a greater fan experience.
Of course. It's the OC Vibe is just a crazy project that they've been working on. So looking forward to seeing how that turns out and everything. And speaking of the Samuelis and the culture, you guys, there was the other night at the last home game, there was a young kid that had a poster that said "Sticking it to cancer." And I myself, my family, we've been affected by cancer, just my friends as veterans and stuff. So tell me about what your organization is all about with let me pronounce that right, AstraZeneca.
Yeah, AstraZeneca. So basically I'm partnering up with AstraZeneca. What they're doing is trying to get early screenings for cancer. So I've obviously, like you and everyone else, have been affected, whether it's family members or friends that have been affected by cancer. So basically it's just early screenings that, you can talk to your doctor and get these screenings just to have some, just to know whether or not things are going well or not. It's just always great to get these things looked at early, because the earlier you detect it, the better things are going to be. So what AstraZeneca is doing, it's the Body Check Cup Challenge. Basically, you go to getbodycheck.com and you sign up for these screenings, and they're making it competitive in the sense that you're going to tell them which team you're affiliated with, which team you're a fan of, and whichever team gets the most people to sign up for these screenings is going to win certain awards. So it's going to make it competitive. It's going to make people get healthier, and it's great.
Awesome. And I know like the Samuelis, they work with UCI. They have a great cancer research center and everything. So when it comes to the kind of the cancer research and everything that you're doing, how did you get associated with AstraZeneca?
Yeah, so AstraZeneca had reached out to me to see if we would be a good fit, if it's something that I'd be interested in. And I've had family members that have been affected by cancer. All three of my grandparents were affected by cancer. So for me, it hit really close to the heart. And, thinking about growing up and my parents getting to a certain age, it was something that was really close to me. So I decided to get involved, hopefully to help people, detect these things if they do have them a little bit earlier than they would have normally.
Of course. And with the 21st Ducks program, the Ducks have always been doing great things for that. So it's really great to have you guys being involved with the community and making sure that we do have a healthy fan base out here in Orange County and honestly internationally. And just one last thing with the international type mindset and everything, after that Four Nations tournament, kind of bringing it back to hockey, what have you noticed kind of a change within the want for international play with Best on Best? Like, has there been a little bit more I guess kind of trash talk amongst the different countries and stuff? Like, how's that aspect looking towards international play?
Yeah, I think the players have always wanted to be involved in international play. I think, with the NHL, there's been some obstacles in terms of where we're going to fit it in and how it's going to fit in throughout the season. But like you saw, I mean, the Four Nations was probably one of the best things to happen to hockey since I can remember. Whenever you have people that are casual hockey fans or people that aren't even fans of hockey texting you about it, it's a great thing for the game. It's just going to continue growing the game. I think just because people are so proud of where they're from and, they play so hard for their country that the fans could sense that emotion in the game. And that's a big seller. So I think it's been great and I think it's going to continue.
Great to hear from the player's mouth. And speaking of pride, I know a lot of the Ducks fans have pride in Anaheim. So once again, that's Get Body Checked Against Cancer. And they can go to, what's the website again for them to check out?
GetBodyCheck.com.
GetBodyCheck.com. All right. Let's get Anaheim up there and win that cup for the Body Check Challenge. Alex, thank you so much for joining me today. Really appreciate it and appreciate the time, and great luck out there in Dallas.
Thank you very much.
A huge thank you to Alex Killorn joining Locked On Ducks today. Like and subscribe and share this episode with all your friends and family, and make sure they get checked out for cancer by checking out getbodychecked.com and help the Anaheim Ducks and Killorn win the Body Check Cup. Thank you for making Locked On Anaheim Ducks your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the Locked On NHL podcast, bringing you the daily league-wide stories that matter with the local coverage you love from Locked On. Find Locked On NHL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Kyle Carr. Be good out there.